Hello.
Hi, my name is Tom.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine today, thank you.
Good. That's great. Just so you know, I have a reservation booked in about 12 minutes, so I can only talk until they call.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
okay?
yes. Can I have a free conversation with you today?
Yeah, I have a few minutes, but it won't be the full 30 minutes time that you have.
Yes, it's okay.
But I have about 12 minutes, so we can chat for that time until my reservation calls, if
Yes,
that's okay with you.
yes, it's okay.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, good, good. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I am a first year student in college in Vietnam. I'm from Vietnam. Have you heard about Vietnam?
Yes, I have. Vietnam is a country that I'm hoping to visit maybe next year once everything really settles down with COVID.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, can I?
I think it would be a beautiful country to visit.
Yes. Are you from England,
I am from Canada.
Canada? And Have have COVID-19 affected Canada or not?
Oh, yes. I believe COVID-19 has affected every country in the world.
And do you like watching TV or something else in your free time?
I don't watch TV, but in my free time, I like to read books. I like to exercise. I'll meet friends for coffee or lunch or dinner. Um, I keep fairly busy, but I do not watch TV.
Yes.
What about you? What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I have little free time, so I often spend it go jogging outside to have fresh air. I think it's
Mhm.
a good activity.
It is. It is good, and it's good to be outside and moving, and having fresh air, so it's very important.
And in Canada, have students gone to school and or they study online at home?
They're all in school now. Everybody's back to being in the classrooms.
And in
Yeah.
Vietnam, we have been studying online because COVID-19 have affected us a lot.
And so you're still studying online right now?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
already study online.
And do you prefer to study online or do you prefer to go to a classroom?
I prefer to go to classroom because I'm a first year student, so I haven't gone to my school.
Oh, yeah, that would make a big difference, especially the first year to be in the classroom, meet classmates, meet your teacher. It would be much better to be in the classroom. Um, has your government said, or the school said when they will reopen, for you to go to the school?
They reopen it sometimes, but COVID-19 affected us a lot, so they must close it. And some areas
Okay.
must be
Mhm.
a lockdown area.
Okay. So they're not saying like, what are we in March now? They're not saying in June it'll be back into school or September, the schools will be open and everybody will go back to school.
No,
Not
they
yet?
don't.
No. What about office jobs? If people who are working in an office, are they working in the office or are they also working from home?
Oh, they have been working in the office because they have been good. I think so.
Okay, so offices are open, but school is still at home.
But it is so risky because if they are not good, their children will be affected.
Right. Yeah, it's in my opinion, I mean, we have to get used to living with COVID. It's not going to go away. And so we have to find ways that people need to stay healthy. They need to get themselves healthy to begin with. Um, and and hopefully just over time it becomes more like the common cold, more like the regular flu. But it's definitely not going to disappear.
Yes.
So, well, hopefully things get better there, and then school will be back open, and everything will hopefully get back to 2019, how it was before COVID,
Yes.
before it hit, would be
It has
very
been
nice.
3 years since COVID appeared, and many things still not stopped.
Hmm. It definitely changed the world.
And I want to question you about what do you think about Russia war between Ukraine war?
I think it's absolutely horrible. I think Russia I think Vladimir Putin is absolutely crazy and he needs to be removed from power. And I feel absolutely horrible for the Ukrainian people and I feel very bad for the Russian people because the people don't want this war. People don't want war. And it's unfortunate that politicians starts wars, causes wars, make people go into it when if if they're, if people knew the truth and had a vote to say, do we want to invade this country, go to war with that country, like every country, not just the Russian Ukraine. I think there would be no wars because generally people don't want it, and it's the citizens who suffer the most.
So
And
you
and
think
obviously Ukrainian people are dying, like, and it's horrible. Average citizens. Can you imagine just all of a sudden one day you wake up and your city or your town is being bombed and your neighbors are dying, your family's dying, which is absolutely horrible. And then but the Russian people too, all of a sudden businesses are closing, they can't get money, they don't have jobs anymore because all of these businesses are closing. They can't um, have money sent to them or they can't send money to their family who lives there. I mean, it's terrible for Russian people because they didn't ask for it, and it's absolutely horrible for the Ukrainian people.
it is a meaningless war and everyone don't want this.
I
Everyone
I do. I think it is absolutely meaningless. Um, I don't think it was necessary. I think if Putin was really concerned about the sovereignty, as he claimed, of the Ukraine, I mean, it wasn't like the president was voted in. It was a democracy. He was voted. They are who he wanted. Putin's never been voted in. He changes the rules so he stays in power.
Yes.
So I would feel different towards the Russian people if they voted for Putin. If they said, yes, we believe in him, we think he's right, we think everything, but that's not true. It's not the case. He wasn't voted into power, and he's been in power for over 20 years. Where Ukraine, yes, of course, every country has problems and there's, corruption. Every country has it. Some countries are better hiding it than others, but every country has issues with corruption. But they voted for this person. They were trusting in him, and it's showing because when you have a country like Russia, which is who we thought to be a massive superpower, huge military, everything, look at how well the Ukrainians are standing up to him. So they don't want Russia. Russia's not, quote, saving them like Putin claims to be, because if they were, they wouldn't be fighting like this.
And do you think Russia has a good president?
Do I think Russia has a good what? Can you repeat the question?
No, you don't think that. But
No, I
you
didn't. I didn't hear. I didn't understand. I didn't hear the full question. I heard you say, "Do you think Russia?" And then I didn't hear. I didn't hear the rest
do,
of the question.
do you think Russia has a good president?
No,
President.
no. I think Putin is a terrible president. I don't think he does things that are good for the country. I think he does things that are good for him and his friends.
But he was the person who saved his country from bad situation in the past.
But look at what he's done to the country now. He's brought them back in time 30, 40 years. Like, how are Russians going to make money? How are they going to live? They're cut off from so much stuff that he has not done good for the country now. He may have done good for some people of the country in the past, but what he's doing now is absolutely terrible for Russia, for the citizens of Russia.
And what I know about in some media, I just know Ukraine suffer a lot from war. I don't hear anything about Russian people, and now I just know it.
Right. And I mean, we see lots of things that are going on in the Ukraine, and so many, like thousands of people are dying. And for what? He's not saving Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't want to have Russian power over them. That's why they're fighting as much as they're fighting. If they were, oppressed, they'd be like, "Oh yes, come save us, come. We're not going to fight. We're going to welcome you." But they're not welcoming. They don't want to be under Russian rule. It would be like one of your neighboring countries just all of a sudden saying, "We're going to save you and we're going to come in," and then they start bombing your country and killing people. Like, that's not saving people.
Well, Ukraine has the same situation like my country. We used to suffer the difficult situation in this country.
Mhm.
We were dominated by Chinese in the past, but we have won and we have a country now.
Right. And like, how would you feel if China said, "Oh, well, we want to go back to taking over and we're going to save you," and all of a sudden Chinese troops come in and start bombing your country because the Chinese president thinks he's going to save you because you were once, part of China. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yes, I don't want that.
No, nobody wants that. So I mean, like, the Ukrainian people don't want that either.
I don't want my country become a part of China.
Right. So imagine, like with the Ukrainian people, they don't want to become part of Russia.
Yeah,
And so they're literally fighting for their life, for their land, for their freedom, for their democracy, for a lot. Just as I'm sure if if China decided to invade your country, a lot of people would then fight because they won't want to become part of China.
And in the past, Russia and China and Ukraine have been formed into Soviet Union.
That's
And
right.
did you know about the founder of Soviet Union?
Yeah, because when I was in school, it was the USSR. It was the all of the countries, and then they over time have broken apart. And I mean, they all want their independence. They all want their freedom. They don't want to be under Russian rule. Um, and Putin has to realize. I mean, he wants to go back in time, but he wants to go back in time to when it's convenient for him. I mean, we can't go back in history because then how far do we go back? Do we go back to when the Roman Empire was like the great leader of three-quarters of the world? Like, let's go back to history. Oh, it's not convenient for some people. They don't want to do that. They only want to go back to a certain time that they liked best,
Yes.
right? And that's it. We can't do that. We have to accept these things happened. And I mean, and it's not a perfect world, but I mean, killing each other for land, and control, I mean, it's just greed, especially. And like, I understand when if you're truly helping a country, but Russia's not helping the Ukraine. They don't want to be part of Russia. That's a huge difference. If the Ukraine was, please help us. We want to be part of Russia again. We want this. That would be one story. That would be one situation. But that's not the reality of the situation. And unfortunately for Putin, he wants to be, I think, known in history as this great reconnector of Russia who made Russia great again. But what he's doing, I think, is the exact opposite. He's making the old Russia parts of countries that used to be part of Russia want to now be part of NATO, want to be more connected to the West because they're worried about being invaded now. And he's making those countries become stronger, and he's making his own country be weaker because of all of these sanctions. Even once the invasion stops, the war stops, a lot of these companies aren't just going to go back to Russia and be like, okay, we're going to reopen again. We're going to employ people again. We're going to start like buying your goods again. That's not going to happen for many years.
And many Vietnamese people say that why can we criticize America? We criticize Russia because America killing many people in other countries.
Hmm.
Why we can criticize them?
And I think American has been wrong in many countries too. But just because they were wrong before and they did it doesn't mean, oh, well, they did it, so we can do it. It doesn't make it right. Right? Like if the United States invade, like, so Russia, let's say Russia takes over the Ukraine, and the United States says, well, we're going to save Mexico. We're going to invade Mexico and we're going to save the Mexican people because, all the drug cartels are there. And so we're going to invade and we're going to save Mexico. That's ridiculous. It doesn't make it right because
Yes,
it's just wrong. And the United States has been wrong in the past before. I'm not saying that they've been right with things that they've done, but just because they've done wrong doesn't mean other countries should do wrong as well.
but do you think many countries criticize Russia instead of America in the past?
I don't think America is the best country in the world. So I don't think, and I'm from Canada, and I don't think it's the best country in the world. Um, I think there's a lot of problems within the United States, but I think there's a lot of problems in a lot of countries. I don't think there is one superior country in the world. If we look at um, education, healthcare, lifestyle, corruption, danger, all of those types of things. I mean, that's what makes a country great or not great, not just people saying that they're great. Because I can say I'm the greatest person in the world, and I can tell everybody, and I can have it posted all over the news and social media and everything, and it doesn't mean I'm the greatest person in the world. Right? I think what it should be is there needs to be a choice. I do believe in democracy. I think people should vote for their leaders and who governs the country. And I think there should be a limited amount of time that a leader can be president, prime minister, chancellor, whatever that title may be, because then if they're in that position of power for too long, I think they get too greedy and it goes to their head and it becomes bad. But I think people should have the right. Why? And if I want to have a dictator as a leader, or a socialist, or a communist, or a capitalist, or a whatever, I should have the right to vote for that type of person. And I think every country should have the right to vote. And who the majority legally and legitimately votes for is the one who represents that country for 4 years, 6 years, whatever their laws state. Like in North America, so Canada and the US, I think, is very similar this way, that our president or prime minister gets 4 years. They can get reelected, they get 4 more years. After 8 years, that's it. They cannot be reelected again. They have to at least wait another 4 years, then they can go back if they want. But that doesn't happen. Usually once their 8 years are over, that's it. Which prevents this power, crazy, greed type thing from happening, because they only have a certain amount of time. And it's who we vote for. It's who the majority votes for, or they get so many seats per party. And I think that's the right way to do it.
Yes. And when
Right? Because that's what the majority wants.
and when telling about the best country in the world, many Vietnamese people, including me, want to go to England because it has a good policy and many good healthcare, many facilities. And do you think about that?
I think the United Kingdom is great for that. I mean, I believe it is a fairly safe country. I don't think the crime rate is super high. I do believe it's fairly safe. Um, I do believe their healthcare system is pretty good. Their public healthcare system. Um, Politics aside, I mean, every government has problems. Every Politicians break rules. There's always some sort of corruption. But I think it's on the scale of corruption around the world, it's definitely at the lower end. I think, and there's many countries that are a lot worse. And there's a lot of opportunity. People can easily start businesses, do different jobs, start things. So I think the UK has a lot of opportunity. I think Australia is the same as well. I think they're another great country. I think New Zealand's fairly similar. I think a lot of European countries, um, France, Spain, Germany. I mean, all of them I think are great and have a lot of opportunity as well. So I really don't think there is one best country in the world. I think it is also what we like. Like for me, weather is a huge thing. So for me, Norway is an amazing country, lots of opportunity, great wages, generally happy people. But for me, it's not the best country because it gets too darn cold in the wintertime.
Yeah.
For somebody who loves cold and snow, they think it's the best country in the world. For me, I'm like, no, it's not. It gets cold. Like Canada. I love Canada, but it's not the best country in the world because winter is way too long and cold. But that's for me, right? So the best is perspective. Like, what is the best if you drink alcohol, what is the best wine? What is the best beer? What is the best flavored water? What is the best coffee? It's all different because the best is different to every single person.
Yeah. The best depends on person opinion and I like
Right.
your answer, and I have learned many things from you and your answer very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's all, you know, it's even like the best food. Like you would say, "Oh, this is the best restaurant in my town." Somebody else might say, "No, I've been there a couple times. I don't think it's the best. I think this other place is the best."
Uh,
Right? There's
we,
no,
yes,
and there's no perfect. There not there the word perfect describes something that does not exist.
yeah,
And our perception of perfect is perception.
we all have rights to choose the best one for us, and
Mhm.
we all have many things to do it, and I
That's
always
right.
want to do it in near future.
Yeah, and it's great that we have so many opportunities or options, right? So like if you think England is the best place in the world and your dream is to go there, and for you maybe it is. And great. Work towards getting there, do what you need to do. You have opportunity, you can do that. And maybe your cousin, your neighbor, your best friend, somebody may say, "No, Australia. Australia's the best. That's my." Great. Do what they need to do to get there, to be there, to, like, it's great because I think the world would be boring if everybody loved the same thing and wanted the exact same and had the exact same idea. It it would be boring.
And do, do you think that studying has been a way to escape from poverty?
I do. I believe it's kind of twofold. I believe knowledge is extremely important, but there's many ways we can get knowledge. You don't have to go to university to get knowledge. We can learn many things for free online courses, life experience. Life experience gives us knowledge. But one thing that's a little bit more important than knowledge is action. We have to take action. We can read books about how to do stuff. We can take courses, we can get a university degree, and we can learn, 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 learn. But if we don't do, then it doesn't matter how much we know because we're not doing. So we do have to have knowledge. We have to learn things, um, but we have to take action. It's even more important, right? Like if you can study and study English and learn and learn and learn and learn, but if you never speak it, you're not really learning it. You could understand lots. And if you learn everything that it takes to go to England, let's say, and you have to do this and you have to get this score and you have to get these documents and you have to do this and all of those things, but if you don't do it, it doesn't matter how much you know. Great, you know it, but if you don't do those things, you're never going to get there.
And your opinion is that if I learn English, I must practice speaking English with many people so that I have learned many things from it.
I
Really?
think when we learn another language, the more we can speak it with, even if it's the same person or if it's a different person every day, that doesn't matter too much. What matters is the practice. Again, it's the doing it, right? With different people, you may have different conversations because you might have different interests, and so you'll talk about different topics, which is fine, but the point of it is the talking. It's the doing, it's the practicing, and that's where you're gonna get better.
Yes. Thank you very much for your opinion, and I will think about it a lot. I will
You're
change.
welcome. And just for your practice, just as a little bit, like if you're reading in English, try to read out loud. So you're hearing yourself say the words and speak the words. And because that also helps with your speaking and talking. So when you can read out loud so you hear yourself saying those words. If you're by yourself or maybe even just in the shower or something like that, talk to yourself. Practice saying things out loud like, "Oh, today I need to go to the shop. I need to walk down 3 blocks, turn right." And it may seem silly at first, but it will help. Every little bit like that will help.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.